All right, we're going on, guys. So, hey, everybody, welcome to Blocktalk. I'm Freddie, and
I'm Alex.
Alex Turkey, and the boys are all in. It's great. I'll show you guys who's all here in a second. But first, we just want to say a word about one of our sponsors, QuadrigaCX, Bitcoin's best trading platform in Canada. And it looks like they had a pretty busy day, but we won't get into that because Michael's going to be here to tell us about that pretty soon. And we have our second great sponsor for Decentral is Airbits. Where is it? There we are. Love this wallet. It's very good looking. It's hyper functional. And there's something interesting that we discovered the other day. What was it?
Okay, well, it's on the Google Play Store and iOS. We had a great hangout with them on Thursday.
Yeah, but we learned something interesting. What was it?
You can send transactions offline with Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty cool feature that I haven't seen in any wallet yet.
Yeah.
And the receipt system, too, is also beautiful. With the price of Bitcoin moving as much as it is, capital gains is hard to calculate. This thing will definitely help.
That's awesome.
Our next sponsor, Quadriga. So advanced tools for cryptocurrency traders. Do all your graphing. All the charts you see on the show today are usually from Quadriga.
Yeah.
Try Quadriga.com/blocktalk to refer us and try a free 30-day trial.
Yeah, pretty cool. And
finally, Jumbucks.
Tell us about Jumbucks again.
Jumbucks is like the coolest altcoin around. It's this great community of traders and developers. Like tons of cool stuff is always going on. Join the Jumbucks Slack at slack.getjumbucks.com. The link is below. They sponsor all the beer on the show, and yeah, we have a lot of people in the room here that we got to give some beer. So
yeah,
I hope they're ready for us.
Yeah. So I'm going to say who we are. I'm Freddie. This is Alex, Darren, Paul's in the house, Shane's in the house. We got David's foot here. We got Charles's head there, and over there we have Anthony trying to figure out how to make withdrawals from an exchange.
Oh man!
Yeah, constantly killing it.
And we have our guest of honor.
Who is our guest of honor today?
We got Zane from Bitfinex.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, man.
But a little upset because the price of Bitcoin kind of crashed hard this week. Freddie, if you could show my screen, actually, we'll show Exhibit A. This is the 1 minute chart from I think it was Wednesday, where the price went from 250 all the way down to 160 and back up to 230 again. Wow. So for the guys in the room here that live under a rock, can you explain what happened there, Zane?
So there was a heavy sell pressure on the day that the dump, or whatever you want to call it, happened. And as the price started to go down, we had to close long positions that were running out of margin. And then the other problem that you run into with the declining Bitcoin price is people that back their margin positions with Bitcoin have to liquidate that Bitcoin as the price goes down. So all that in conjunction just led to a pretty heavy price decline. Although it did return to somewhat normal levels soon after that, but during the dump, yeah, just the liquidating of long positions and liquidating of Bitcoin for the back the positions.
I see. So what happened, I guess, was kind of a cascade of margin calls to make the lenders whole again. Is that kind of what we've been hearing?
That was one part of it, correct, yeah. As the price goes down, we need to liquidate the position so that we can return the money to the lenders. And during the crash, none of the lenders were affected. All the lenders got all their money back. But the other part of that is people that back their positions with Bitcoin, as the price goes down, we need to liquidate that Bitcoin so that they don't get margin called and so that they can maintain their position. And so that mixed with the just in general heavy sell pressure and lack of liquidity below the 220 levels led to the flash crash, or dump, however you want to call it.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, if you could go back to the screen, Freddie. Or I can.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can go.
Okay. So I just gotta say, I pretty much won the price bet last week by default.
Wait, your screen, is it showing up?
Yeah, it should be on. Did we lose connection? No.
No.
Try going off of it and back on.
Were you the lowest house?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I was the lowest. I was, I guess, 240. And this is like one of the first times with our price bets that we've actually been outside of our range. Like we're usually the top and bottom bet or guess are kind kind of capturing the market movement for the next week. But you guys, I guess, threw the whole bet out the door now. So we're going to be, I guess, on a bit of a downtrend for a bit.
What?
I would think so. I don't know. We'll get into the price bets a little later.
No, but this is the last one of our two guests of honor. Two other guests of honor. We have two gentlemen that from an exchange here in Vancouver called CoinTrader.net. Shane, where's the price of Bitcoin going?
Over the next week?
Yeah?
Down to like 10.
Whoa. Paul, what are you thinking?
I think it's going to stop around 220, 219.
Interesting. All right, we'll get everybody else's opinion on that too. I just wanted to hear from the chiefs in the room. All right, so what are we at now, Alex? What are we doing?
I almost forgot to mention what Bitcoin block we are on.
Oh, yeah.
371.069. Gotta love the...
Everybody, there's going to be a quiz on this in the show. So
yeah, so... We're moving along nicely. We got less than a year to the block halving, but for Litecoin, exactly 3 days, we will get our price halving.
Michael's in the room, dog. Michael, good to see you. We're just explaining. Sorry, say again.
I said you too. Sorry for the delay.
Oh, it's okay, man. We're just saying what block we're at, and we covered that, and then we just we introduced Zane. Zane's from Bitfinex. So Zane, say hello to Michael from Quadriga, please.
Hey, Michael, nice to meet you.
You too.
Nice, cool. This is great. So we've got some exchange action in the house today.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see, Michael. We also have Paul and Shane from CoinTrader here. So it's a pretty big room here right now. This is really, really exciting. You're in charge. Back to you.
Okay, so I think the topic that's on everyone's mind, and I'm really glad we have lots of exchanges in here because let's see if we can get some consensus by the end of the day.
And lots of beer in here too.
Yeah, that helps with consensus. Everyone is discussing the block size. That seems to be the topic on everyone's mind to figure out, do we need more than 1 megabyte blocks of transactions to continue to grow the network? So XT was pushed out by Gavin Andreessen. It was a new client that says, okay, here it is, it's got bigger blocks, but then there was a bunch of network options in there too to help prevent DDoSing or denial of service.
Yeah, spamming.
So he looked at it as a safety feature, but everyone else is like, well, this is going to blacklist like certain nodes, and it's basically it's getting away from the core message, I guess, of Bitcoin. But still, the fundamental question remains: is do we need bigger blocks? So let's hear from, I guess, Zane first.
I think it's clear that we need a solution to the transaction size, and bigger blocks is one of the ideas that's proposed right now. I'd say, yeah, it's probably a good idea in the short term, but I think long term there are alternate solutions like the stuff that Blockstream's working on that I think can be an alternate solution to the larger block size.
Interesting. And maybe we should see what Michael thinks about that. Michael, what do you think of the blockchain, block size thing?
Yeah.
I mostly agree. I believe that we need larger block sizes in order to facilitate commercial transactions on the network. A lot of these stress tests are very similar to what would happen if a major retailer would actually accept Bitcoin, and I just don't think we're ready for that level. So that's with block sizes the way they are right now.
So it's necessary to expand, I guess. Okay. And our other exchanges in the room here.
CoinTrader boys, what are you guys thinking?
I think the block size should be increased in the short term, but I do think it should be increased slower than the XT proposal. I don't think it's necessary to jump to 8 megabytes right away and then double from there. I think we raise it to 2 and double after that. So I think a more gradual approach would be a better solution.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
that seems quite sensible.
It's scheduled like every 4 years. Right?
Yeah. Well, we just don't know. Like, I guess
it can grow with the need.
Right.
I think like implementing some sort of similar to the way difficulty works, where every 2 weeks the difficulty changes based on network demand. I think that would probably be a better solution. So that way we're not constantly forking to or we're not deciding on the network size requirements like 10 years. We don't know how high demand is going to be for Bitcoin next year even.
That's right.
Or even next month, because crazy shit might go down.
Crazy shit might go down, like what happened this week.
Can you lose your Bitcoin this turn? I think that's a good. If a block is not increased, and
no, the answer to that question is no.
No.
Okay.
So yesterday, actually, on the World Crypto Network, they had a great discussion on this as well. But they highlighted in an article about. Oh, sorry, Fred, that's not on my screen.
Oh.
But the priorities of Bitcoin are as followed: consensus, decentralization, store of value, and a payment system. So that's like the order, I guess, that Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is many things, and if you just use it as a store of value, then you can just leave it in a wallet for ages, and you don't care about forking or anything as long as the network's running in 10 years,
right.
Which we all know it will. But
so where are we going with this?
Oh, I don't know. I'm starting to lose.
So my question is guys, this is for Zane and for Michael. What the F happened this week, guys? Let's start with Zane. Zane, tell us what happened exactly this week. And what caused this big sell-off?
You know, a lot of times I think people look for causes too much. That in trading, you know, there's sometimes the price goes down, there's heavy sell pressure, and supply exceeds the demand, and that's what leads to the price going down. You know, a lot of times people get hyped around a press release or something like that, and it'll cause spikes in the price, but it always returns to where it was pre-levels. And I think lately there's just been a heavy sell pressure since the top at 316, I believe. I think it's that simple.
Interesting. And Michael, do you have any insight that, you know, I know you're a heavy, you trade heavily yourself. Everybody knows that. And what did you experience this week?
I believe that the crash coincided with the first XT block being mined, or rather the report of the first XT block being mined. And so I think there was just a lot of FUD, a lot of market manipulation as per usual, but they used that as a reason for it. There's a lot of uncertainty. The fact that the Reddit channel is being monitored and moderated so heavily and being censored with regards to XT discussion, people aren't as educated as they should be on the topic, and that results in more fear and uncertainty. And I think that along with the suddenly dropping prices just caused more of it. In the futures market, it's happening even more right now. On OKCoin, the price dropped from 220 to 212 to 220 to 212, and I think it's about 225 right now. Whereas all the other markets are actually flat, the actual exchanges are flat. So there's quite a bit of market manipulation going on as per usual. And they usually need some sort of reason or some sort of launching point, and I believe that the XT mining blocks and the rumors around it are what's causing this right now.
Interesting.
So one thing that actually happened that maybe caused part of the sell-off was Slush Pool collected a 25 Bitcoin bounty to mine a block of XT. So that they were kind of creating a fork, but luckily they were the only ones, I guess, creating the first chain. So a lot of people almost blame them for this crash. Like as soon as they did that, that's when the price kind of started plummeting and people started selling with uncertainty. But the best thing to do in a fork, I guess, is not to do anything. Just leave your funds where they are, or on exchange, do off-chain transactions.
Yeah, I mean, all I know is that I'm just glad I went to cash a week before. Because I would have it would have been a bad week.
Oh,
I'm sure it was a bad week for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a good week for some.
Yeah.
Actually, let's talk about the broader spectrum of things that happened this week, Alex. Like, what else happened in the financial markets this week?
So yesterday, the S&P 500 dropped about, I think it was like 3% or so.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see the peak of the U.S. dollar and the stock market, guys. So if you're looking to invest, stay the hell away from putting your money in that.
But is this the peak of the U.S. dollar if the rest of the petrodollars are falling through the floor right now?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a bet on this with one of the guys in the Jumbuck Slack that before the end of September we're going to start seeing like pullback of the market, like heavy pullback.
In the American dollar market?
Yeah, like in most stock markets, very similar to what happened in 2008, like the 7-year cycle.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
We got to figure this block size thing out before we start seeing a heavy amount of traffic.
And Bitcoin? What will happen with Bitcoin, do you think?
Oh, I think it's going up. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a halving happening next year. I'm going to ask Zane and Michael, do you guys have any comments on what's happening in the equity markets generally right now, and specifically with the U.S. dollar? Zane, go ahead.
In my opinion, the U.S. dollar is probably going to continue with being a strong reserve currency, especially with the yuan devaluing as much as they have over the past couple of weeks and the uncertainty in the Chinese stock market. I think the U.S. dollar is probably going to hold strong for a bit, but I don't know. I'm terrible with price predictions, so I take everything I say with a grain of salt.
And what about yourself, Michael? What are you thinking? What are you doing these days?
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add to the topic. I've been so obsessed with everything else recently that I haven't much time to really look into anything that's to the point where I could provide an opinion outside of what's already being broadcast.
And there was something that Alex discovered that was an interesting thing about your exchange and actually coin traders in the same boat, is that you say it was a really good way to get in on the American dollar.
Yeah, you guys have not only a Canadian Bitcoin market, but you also have an American Bitcoin
U.S. dollar
pair.
U.S. dollar order book.
That's and even a gold one too. So if you guys are looking to go long on the Canadian dollar, sign up for Quadriga.
Oh, what? So on the Canadian dollar? Or the American
well, like
dollar?
say you have American dollar, you could deposit it on Quadriga, correct? And then from there you could switch it to Bitcoin and then switch it to Canadian.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's very.
Yep, that's right.
Huh.
Yeah. So you could do a lot of different. You could do Forex, go long on gold and Bitcoin, all from Quadriga.
Yeah, with a minimal commission and minimal time issues.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Minimal
Our
friction.
U.S. dollar order book has been roughly spot, and our Canadian dollar order book has been about 1% over spot. So you could actually convert your U.S. dollars to Canadian dollars this way, and save a lot of money versus a percentage.
That's really interesting.
You'd make about 1% as opposed to putting 3 to a bank.
Well, I got a friend who's got a bunch of American that he needs to change back to Canadian now that we're so below par.
It might be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And then switch to the Bitcoin. All right. So what's next on the agenda, Alex?
So I'm curious, Zane, you guys removed Darkcoin, or Dash rather, from your market. What's the story behind that?
The story's pretty simple. There just wasn't very high demand for it. The USD volume of Dash compared to Litecoin and Bitcoin was very small, and I think we'd prefer to focus on Bitcoin and building the best Bitcoin platform there is. And so for those reasons, we just decided to get rid of Darkcoin or Dash or whatever you want to call it.
So so are you looking to add other altcoins? Like Ethereum is really picking up in volume and probably going to surpass Litecoin as a market player.
At this time, no, we don't have any plans to add any other altcoins. Like I said, we're mainly focused on Bitcoin and the growth of Bitcoin. I think Ethereum and Vitalik have done a great job, and I'm excited to see where it goes, but to my knowledge, we don't have any plans to add it.
Interesting. And Zane, only because we didn't really talk about it, what's your role with Bitfinex exactly, please?
So my title is the Director of Community and Product Development. So I work with the community, like you'll see me posting on our Bitcoin markets or getting onto TeamSpeak, and go over where we can improve and kind of deal with a little bit of a customer support role. And then I take a lot of that feedback and go on our site and make the improvements and find where we can improve and just kind of think about the best way to optimize our trading platform from a UI UX perspective.
Very interesting.
So,
very interesting.
So how long have you been with Bitfinex, and how long has Bitfinex been around?
Bitfinex has been around for 3 years, but I joined Bitfinex in about March 15th, shortly after resigning from OKCoin.
Interesting.
Okay.
And Michael, only because we didn't really touch on it, what's your role again with Quadriga Financial, please?
I'm a co-founder of Quadriga Financial and currently just dealing with the transitional period as an advisor.
So you're an advisor and a co-founder, I think, right?
That's right.
Okay, very good. So, Alex, if I could jump in for a second, I wanted to ask Zane a question. You guys are also really into the futures market, I think, right? What's it?
Margin trading.
The margin trading thing. Yeah, right. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what got you guys into that? Because that was kind of like the big thing for Bitfinex. I remember yeah, go ahead.
That's our swaps market, and basically it allows for users who aren't trading with their funds or just have funds that they're not being used. They can use it to provide liquidity to our other traders, and they can set their own interest rates or set auto lend, and so the money will just keep going out to provide liquidity for our other traders. And then this allows the traders that want to use our margin trading feature to get up to 3.3 times leverage. And so it's just a way to allow people who aren't using funds to earn a little bit more money on them, and a way to give our traders a little bit more leverage to maximize their profits on trading swings.
And Michael, I think that you mentioned that there's a possibility you guys are going to get into futures trading. Is that something you're thinking about, or did I imagine that, or
it is something I'm very interested in. It's something we are working on, both the legal aspect, the regulatory aspect, and of course the technology is, I believe, the easiest part. But it is something that I do a lot of myself, futures trading, and I do have a lot of interest in.
Interesting. And so in Canada, are there a lot of hoops to jump through in Canada? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult. We have to tread very carefully to not be considered a lending institution.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I have a question about margin trading.
Go ahead, Jesse. Jesse has a question about margin trading. Go ahead, Jesse.
Do you think the interest levels will ever raise for the people loaning money?
Yeah, definitely. So, well, the way it works is whenever there's a rise in the Bitcoin price, generally the demand for swaps goes up, or whenever volatility picks up, the demand for swaps go up. And so as the demand for swaps go up, obviously the price will rise in accordance with that. And so in the past, we've seen interest rates that are as high as 1% a day during times of extreme volatility. And so lately it's been very, I mean, except for the past week, besides that, the Bitcoin market's been pretty stable for the past few months. And when the market's stable, it's hard to make money on the small changes in the price. So the demand for swaps goes down. But I think in the future, as volatility and the price picks up, we'll see the price go up as the demand does.
Interesting.
Yeah. So how have you guys been handling the regulation from BitLicense in New York?
It was a pretty easy decision to not service New York customers, because doing that it pretty much risks the privacy of all your other users, since you have to turn over all that information to the NYSDFS or the NYDFS. And so we've set up a block for New York users. Any of the verified accounts had to withdraw their Bitcoin. And then for unverified accounts, we do an IP check and then ask the user if they are from New York, if the IP is from New York. And this just protects the privacy of, one, our employees, and two, our entire user base, the majority of which is located outside of New York.
Because you guys are actually based offshore, aren't you? Like your servers are in Italy, is what I read.
That's correct. They're in Milan, Italy.
So you're not technically an American company, but you're facilitating like the American market?
Well, we're always in talk with regulators to make sure that we're compliant, and we do KYC and AML. But that is correct. We're based outside of America, and we don't report trading to the government, to the American government. But yeah. So we're not based in America. We're based in Hong Kong, and then have a holding company from BVI.
Okay.
We have a company that owns Bitfinex is the parent company.
So, Michael, can you tell us where Quadriga is based, for those who don't know?
Quadriga is based in Canada. We have offices in Toronto and Vancouver. And we are fully compliant, world's first public Bitcoin exchange, world's first audited Bitcoin exchange, so on and so forth.
Audited? Did you say audited?
Yes, audited. As part of the process of going public, we had to get a legacy audit. So a firm in Canada has audited all of our financials, our software, IP rights, so on, and all of that.
Oh, interesting. And so do your clients, what do they call us, members, users, do clients have access to that audit, or when is that published already?
That information is all available online on QDAR. Such information is available on all public companies in Canada.
Oh, interesting. And so has Quadriga gone public already, or is it in the process?
Quadriga is public as a reporting issuer. We're not listed yet on any stock exchange. In order to be listed on the CSE, there is a massive amount of due diligence, prospectus requirements, and all of that. And as the first to do so, they're being very critical of our prospectus and ensuring that everything is done perfectly. And so it is taking some time.
That is super interesting. Crazy. Do we have any questions here? Taylor, go ahead. Talk loudly.
Has Quadriga ever considered doing a cryptographic proof of reserve so that we can see that you're holding the Bitcoin and not doing anything else with it?
Yeah, we've actually done better. The audit will show you that we not only have all the Bitcoins we say we do, but that they're owned by the company, and that we have all the fiat that we say that we do, and that they're owned by the company. So instead of just showing you a Bitcoin address that has a lot of money in it, like our competitors have, we're actually able to show you that we actually, everything is transparent, all of our transactions are real, all the funds are there.
That's really interesting. Zane, do you guys have the same thing going on with Bitfinex, and if you don't, do you have it in the future?
So what we have is a little bit different. What we use is we have BitGo segregated customer wallets. So every single customer has their own Bitcoin wallet, and so they can just go onto the blockchain and verify their funds in pretty much near real time. So they know it's not just a one-time audit; it's continuous, and we settle, I believe, every 30 minutes now. So you'll be able to see your funds on the blockchain. And you don't have to, by doing so, it reduces the risk of hacks because they have to get the keys to every single wallet instead of just one pooled fund that holds all of the customers' Bitcoin.
So in terms of market transparency, like I feel like you guys were kind of caught off guard by this big cascade of margin calls. Is that something like that information is viewable to you guys, or do you not even know when you're approaching like a cascade effect?
Well, we're always monitoring the market to make sure that we can defend against anything like manipulative market. And so we did step in on some of the liquidations that were placed during the cascade. To help prevent that. And however, we didn't, none of our circuit breakers or whatever you want to call them happened for any users at that time because none of them moved the market a significant enough amount. It was just the total collection of the sell volume going down that caused that cascade.
Okay. Yeah, because it'd be interesting, I guess, if we could monitor like what the lender's fees are and like how close you guys are to this sort of effect. So people could, I guess, move coins to be ready for the arbitrage opportunity.
If we opened up where everybody get margin called, then it'd make it a lot easier for traders to just manipulate that and aim for the margin calls, some of which already happens.
I see, but like after a while, like people taking advantage of it, then you kind of get a counter effect. Like if one person's doing it, it's fine, but if two people are doing it, then they're kind of battling each other.
That's one way to look at it, but then it kind of comes to who has the bigger wallet and who can move the price the easiest while making the most out of it. And so smaller traders might have their limit orders set for their if they're holding a long position, they might just set a stop limit, and then the larger traders would be able to move it and take advantage of the smaller traders that are just trying to protect themselves with stop losses. And they could afford to move the market that much.
Interesting.
So speaking of big wallets, the Winklevoss twins are one of the largest owners of Bitcoin in the world, and they're supposed to be launching an exchange in the very near future. Do you guys feel this is competition for you? Do you feel it adds more liquidity, or is it going to shake up the market at all? I'd love to hear some opinions.
Well, one thing is I'm pretty sure that the Winklevoss exchange, Gemini, applied for the standard charter in New York, or they applied for a standard charter, so they won't be able to offer margin trading, similar to IFBIT. And so I think a lot of users, I feel like Gemini isn't going to offer too much new. I feel like it's going to be another IFBIT. And yes, I think that they are competition in the long run, and we'll obviously be watching what they put out. But due to the way that they've gone about their licensing with the standard charter, they won't have a margin market.
It's all right. Michael, Alex was just asking, what's your opinion on the Gemini potential launch?
Well, they've been talking about the launch for a very, very, very long time. So a lot of information has changed during this year or so that we're about to launch. They'll be servicing mostly U.S. clients, is what it looks like. Quadriga has never accepted U.S. clients due to the lack of a clear regulatory stance. And as a result, I don't feel like we'll have much overlap with regards to client usage. We don't have all that many Canadians using Coinbase by comparison. It serves a completely different market, and not having a Canadian dollar order book makes it very difficult for them to compete with us head on. People want to deal with the currency exchange in addition to the commissions of the exchange charges.
Hey, Michael, while we got you on the screen here, what are your favorite sort of arbitrage opportunities? What do you, as a trader, what do you like to take advantage of these days?
I'm a heavy trader on OKCoin, Bitfinex, and my own platform, and on Quadriga. Generally, with a sharp drop, Bitfinex will feel it the most, or OKCoin if the order books are very thin. And then you can pretty quickly and easily clear quite a bit on a smaller exchange like Quadriga or Taurus or even CoinTrader.
There we go. So we're off mute. Well, it's interesting. Quadriga dropped down maybe to 280 Canadian, which if I convert that, I think it's like.
Yeah, Quadriga didn't feel the hit.
Most exchanges, yeah, I think realized it was just an isolated incident with Finex, so they did all drop kind of in the same point, but definitely not to the same degree. Finex orders are those guys got filled really low, like 170 people were buying Bitcoin for. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. So Zane, was there any news of someone not getting their order filled? I know people were claiming that, but they were probably just mashing the button and getting pissed off that they weren't filling.
So there are two separate issues that I think you're referring to. So some users were complaining that their limit orders that were in the 160, 170 range didn't get filled. However, the data kind of proves that wasn't the case. If you look at trade blocks analysis of the flash crash, you'll see that they say that the matching engine did operate as expected, albeit with some latency. And then the other issue that you're relating to is the pressing of the closed position multiple times. And so what happens is when you press the closed position, it enters a market order for the corresponding amount of that position. And so when people press it multiple times, even though there's a modal that says, you know, you're submitting a market order, are you sure you want to do this? When people click yes, it's submitting multiple orders into the matching engine. And then that'll sometimes swap their position. So if they go from, if they're long 10 Bitcoin, hit it twice, it's in them short 10 Bitcoin. However, this is something that we've already released a fix for. Now we have a setup that'll change the position of closing, and it's tied to the position ID, so therefore it won't allow the order to flip. That's something we're doing in the short term while we look for a better solution in the long term. And as for the matching engine and UI lag, that had to do with our post-trade processing, which is something we've been working a lot on over the past couple months, and we've updated our post-trade processing as well, so that should eliminate most of the lag that users experience.
Interesting.
Okay. Also, the Satoshi email that came out last week, do you guys believe that was Satoshi, or was it just someone who hacked his account and was using very similar grammatical errors?
I'd have to guess it wasn't Satoshi.
Michael, you agree with that? It looks like he's nodding his head. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It wasn't Satoshi. Who the fuck is Satoshi anyway? Seriously. Who's this guy everybody keeps talking about?
I love the gifs I've been seeing of it, though. It's just like, oh, abandons project 4 years ago, shows up 4 years later to call the project a failure. It's like, deal with it.
Suck it.
Right. But yeah, I think he had some good. Whoever wrote the email had some good points on this whole XT debate, and charismatic people should not be able to sway the votes of miners and exchanges. We should kind of be discussing consensus in a more, I guess, truthful way to truer way to the Bitcoin message.
Yeah.
I think the post that I'm blanking on the last name, Minnie Rossfield put on our Bitcoin was a very good look at kind of the problems with the XT fork, where it's going right, where it went wrong. I thought that was a really good read.
I've got a question. So we've got 3 exchanges here on the show basically right now. What do you guys see as being the biggest challenges for exchanges in the future? I guess we'll start with our local boys that are sitting here on the sofa, and then we'll move up from there.
To be fair, I can't really represent an exchange any longer.
Okay, very good. Okay.
The question was, what are some of the challenges?
What are the challenges that exchanges are facing in the immediate future?
I think regulatory challenges are going to be one.
Still.
Well, there's the bit license, but I expect that won't be the last example of licensing. So I think there will be maybe
just New York.
Just New York, but if different jurisdictions begin to implement different types of licensing, I think that's going to be a hurdle and definitely something that requires a lot of capital and is going to be a barrier to entry for newcomers.
Right. Interesting. Zane, what do you see as a major challenge in the future? Regulation? Anything else you see occurring? Do you see any sort of do you see any sort of what's it called when companies come together? Merging? Do you see a merging of exchanges anytime in the future or anything like that?
Probably not. I don't see a merge of exchanges. I don't know. I think a lot of exchanges will probably drop off over the next couple of years, and then the liquidity will kind of be consolidated around a couple major exchanges. But I see the biggest problems are, I mean, right now it's just that there's so much to do. You know, the legacy financial markets are so far ahead of us. You know, there aren't many options out there for Bitcoin trader, and options I mean like derivatives. The futures that we have out right now are non-deliverable. You know, I think right now in the Bitcoin market there's still a lot that we haven't done that needs to be done, and the biggest challenge is just trying to catch up to you know, where the rest of the financial markets are.
Michael, what do you think the biggest challenges are for you in your industry in the next little while?
Well, the Senate's report was very positive for us. Kind of opens the way. They're also encouraging banks to work very closely with us here. The New York bit license doesn't really affect us. As I said, Quadriga does not accept U.S. clients, so having new U.S. regulatory hurdles doesn't really impact us much. The Quebec requirements are somewhat similar in many ways, very annoying. I actually see it as being wide open doors. I don't see there being many hurdles coming up ahead. I think that a lot of exchanges will either consolidate or drop off, and that will have, as Zane said, a lot of activity just between a few certain exchanges. And I think that's a great way for it to go. I think that some of these barriers to entry might be a good idea. I don't believe that people should be in their basements writing PHP code and holding millions of dollars of client funds. There should be some sort of regulation in place. We have had so many businesses that have had issues because they weren't properly equipped to handle client funds. So while the bit license does go way beyond what I believe is reasonable, I do believe that a lot of the idea behind it is positive for the industry.
Interesting. Well, since we have two exchanges on the screen here, Michael or Zane, is there anything you guys want to talk about with each other? Michael, do you have any do you have anything you want to say to Bitfinex, or Zane, do you have any questions for our Canadian exchange?
I'm actually a big fan of Bitfinex. I'm one of the users that had those issues, but I sent a screenshot, and I'm sure they'll fix it very quickly. I do use the Bitfinex swaps quite a bit. The rates have pretty much dropped in half in the last week. And I got some really cheap coins during the flash crash, so that made me even more of a fan.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we have a user out of you, but the question I'd like to ask you is, how much of a headache has it been going public in Canada? How do you think it would have compared to trying to do the same thing in America?
Depends on how you go public in the U.S. If you're going to go with an OTC deal, it would be a lot easier. In Canada, going public, we were actually discussing this recently while looking at the bit licensing requirements, and it's not that much more difficult at this point. The audits aren't actually a one-time thing. We've gone through 3 rounds of audits now. They're quarterly, and we have to keep coming up with quarterly audits, updating the working cap numbers and all our financials every single month, and posting it all on CDAR. So it's very frustrating, particularly being the first, because they don't have a template for us. So they're kind of learning about Bitcoin while they're learning about our company in the process of doing so. And due to the many other Bitcoin companies that have had mismanagement issues, they're being very critical with us. But our company is run very well, and so I don't foresee it being an issue.
Very good.
That's pretty fucking interesting, actually. That's a good question, Zane.
I guess maybe we'll do another news story here, and actually it's kind of related to our price bet and markets in general. Auger is doing their crowdfund right now, and in the first day they raised $1.8 or $1.2 million, which is just put that in perspective, that's more than Oculus Rift got in their entire Kickstarter campaigns in a day. And 1.6 million, and the crowdfund is still going on, but this is massive. And basically, the concept behind Auger is it's using Ethereum to create a prediction market we've already kind of seen some of these that got shut down, but they're promising, I guess, to build you know, if X happens, then so-and-so is the winner. Very similar to our price bets we do every week. So I'm just curious how you guys think this will kind of tie into markets and reputation of exchanges and prices.
Well, I've met a couple of people behind Auger, and I think it's a great product, and I think it'll be interesting to see how it takes off. But I think the decentralized nature of it and the whole theory of the knowledge of crowds will prove to be a really, if nothing else, interesting experiment. So I'm really looking forward to watching them go live and seeing what happens.
Michael, have you read at all about Auger?
Or have you invested
I don't
in
feel
it?
as though I'm educated enough on the subject to come up with a valid opinion. I do think it's very interesting and a little bit more innovative than what we're seeing a lot of, and hope they do very well.
Yeah. So Zane, did you buy into the Auger crowd sale?
No, I really don't do much in terms of any of the altcoins or crowd sales. I hold my Bitcoin, and that's pretty much all I do.
Another purist.
No, I think I definitely think altcoins have their place. They definitely have a role to play, and I think they can kind of come up with interesting things a lot faster than can happen with the Bitcoin network. But I'm terrible at predicting which ones are going to stay and which ones are going to go. So I'll hold on to the one that I have the most faith in, and that's Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's good.
So Dave was just showing us the current fundraising for Auger, and it's
Put that right in the camera.
$3.3 million so far. Yeah, you can get it right up there. Anyways, so yeah, that
3.3. That's like that's huge. That's one. Well, Ethereum did really well, but that's really big.
yeah, it's really big, and it's not over yet. Like, if you guys are looking to invest in Auger, I think the maximum bonus for investing ends today. And then from there, it goes down, like you get 5% less, and then another 10% less.
You got into that, didn't you?
No, my problem with investing in Auger is, like, they're basically painting a giant target on their back. Like, I hope they have really good lawyers, because if they are going through with it, like, yeah, it's great they can develop a decentralized technology, but they're still a centralized company and organization. So what's to stop the government from coming in and seizing all that crowd fund? I guess if it's Bitcoin still, then they're going to have a hard time. But the fact remains, it's like they are pushing legal boundaries, and I have a hard time investing in that.
Well, they're going to have to find some sort of jurisdiction that's going to. Michael, you're very clever with these sort of matters. What do you think they're going to? What do you foresee they're going to do with this jurisdictional issues regarding these things? What would you do if you were Auger? Where would you hide out?
It's very difficult to give that advice. If you service U.S. clients, regulation will follow you, as we've seen from Liberty Reserve and other such companies. They'll come after you wherever you are. I believe you have to limit where you offer these services. And I think that they need to be very careful the way they step, considering what's been happening recently with regards to regulation.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Would they go after the reps, do you think?
They would go after anything that they can get their hands on. Russ Albers being a primary example of that kind of thing, and what's his name, the guy that's blonde in England, that they're trying to get it back to Sweden or whatever for.
Assange.
Yeah, Assange. You know what I mean? Like, they'll go after whatever they can get. You know what I'm saying? So if they're breaking the gambling rules in the United States, wherever there are extradition treaties in place, that whoever is responsible would be brought back for that kind of thing. It's kind of a really scary proposition. That's what I was saying. Like, where would you go if you were in there? You know, where would you set up camp? You know what I mean? Because you got to be somewhere. We still have bodies, right?
Yeah.
We're not totally decentralized yet.
Are they doing something wrong though that they're?
Well, they'll be breaking a shit ton of gambling laws.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are they?
Well, they will be.
It's like a betting
Predictions
platform.
are skill, not luck.
But I think this is probably in the same boat as like what happened with Silk Road. It's like he himself maybe wasn't breaking the laws, but they were able to pin crimes on him. Yeah.
Yes.
So they might go after them in a different regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, assassination politics, as an example, can be built on a prediction market
platform.
Yeah.
If you bet that such and such political leader is going to be killed on this day with a bullet to the head, and bet against it, you're essentially forming the bounty for such a thing.
Yeah.
So lots of legal things can be done with anything. But I can go to a hardware store, buy a hammer, and use it to build a house for a homeless person, or beat somebody over the head with it. It's a question about whether you want to regulate all the hammers in the world or not.
Yeah.
It could also be used for sports betting. Really.
That's right. Yeah. Totally.
That's true.
That's what it'll be used for.
That's true.
At least
that's the
eventually.
first market.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I seen that someone tried to build blackjack actually on Ethereum. I guess the randomizer was kind of broken, but the idea is still there that you can do a decentralized casino pretty easily with the technologies that do exist. So yeah, it'll be interesting seeing going forward how this shakes things up. I think Auger is set to launch in December, so we'll see maybe what happens when it hits the market then.
I was just going to ask your point about. I was thinking, what if you set up out in the ocean?
International waters.
It's a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
And then you can't be defended by your country, and a stray missile happens to fall on your location. And
Or a Somali pirate.
Okay.
Is all the betting done in Ether then? Is that how it works? Or?
It's meant to be built on Ethereum, I believe. I know that's part of their crowd sale. You can actually send Ether or Bitcoin. Okay. So it is largely tied to Bitcoin, or to Ethereum, sorry. One thing that was interesting about this Fox News story is they don't really mention Ethereum at all, or like they only mention the Bitcoin side of it. So I guess the public doesn't even know what they're working with anymore. They just see Bitcoin, and it's kind of the face of cryptocurrency, it seems.
Yeah.
So and eventually that's how it's going to be, I think, for a lot of cryptocurrency, even Bitcoin. Like you're going to be using it and not even know it. Like the banks are going to adopt this technology, or like consumers and merchants and everything is going to start being built on it because it's going to be a better system, and we'll probably realize that before the end of the year.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a big year. Like, what's happening? I don't know if everybody's been paying attention, but the traditional markets have had a really bad month.
Yeah, check out this photo I got posted here, Freddie.
Yeah, put it up.
It's on my screen. This is the Friday stock heat map, if it will come up.
Oh, come on, where are you?
Let's.
Are you sure you're sharing it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am, unless I dropped out.
Is it showing it on your screen?
Yeah, it's showing on mine.
There you are.
There. Okay, so it's a little blurry for maybe the people at home, but these are like a heat map. You can see there's different squares of technology, financial, consumer goods, services, basic materials, healthcare, industrial goods. This is red across the board on Friday. The S&P 500 was down. The Dow Jones index is falling. There's only a couple little green spots here. And I know Bitcoin's falling as well, but eventually, like if this map stays red for long enough, I think we'll only see a couple green portions that aren't even on here yet.
So my question to you is, where did you get? I got this.
Yeah, it's Hewitt Picard, I think.
Where do you get this heat map from? Because everybody was asking me this on my Facebook today.
Geez. But I believe you can just search for the stock market heat map. I saw this one reposted by Kazanomics, another guest of the show.
Oh, interesting.
But Stock Tweets is another really good one to follow.
Stock Tweets?
Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is that the red is how poorly that industry is doing.
Yes. It's basically everything is dropping in percentage. Yeah.
I just didn't see one of those.
Yeah.
Charles is our whipping boy. I know. All right, so what do we want to next? We got 10 minutes left of the show, Alex.
Yeah, maybe we should start doing price bets because we got a lot of people here. It's going to take us a while to think.
Right.
So once again, going to mention that I won last week.
Oh yeah. So Alex has been winning twice in a row. Alex is our friend he grew up near me in southwestern Ontario. He came out here. We met him like 4 months ago, maybe longer ago. And he's just been killing it lately. He's been a great co-host. He's been a really big addition down here at Decentral. And he's actually a very, very good bettor when it comes to these sort of price predictions. A lot of my calls come from him, believe it or not. So we'll start with you. What do you think we're going to be at next week?
220 is very familiar territory for Bitcoin. The last year has been largely comprised of a 220 Bitcoin, and I know we've seen massive floors on Finex at 220, but now the books are wiped on Finex, so I don't really know. I might go a little lower and say 215. That's my prediction.
215?
Yeah.
What's it at right now?
Right now it is at 231, and we're going to use the Bitfinex exchange. So as long as Zane doesn't manipulate the market or anything to win this, we should be fine.
Wait, what's my prize again? Because, if it's worth it, I'll have to look into it. No.
Yeah, that's funny. We used to bet for cash, but we don't do it anymore.
It was hard to chase people down, but you know what? Maybe with Auger and Ethereum, we can build our own.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bet, what's it, 230 now? I'm going to say 240. I'm going to say it's going to go up.
All right, I'll drag you down here to
I'm always like that. I'm always
240.
bullish. I'm so boring.
Darren, we still got your name on here. What do you think?
I'm gonna
stay at 245.
No, I'm gonna go pretty low. I think I might go down to like 195.
Really?
Ooh, wow.
Wow.
Big bear. Okay.
Big bear. That sounds kind of suggestive.
Only you, Freddie. All right. Let's find out our guest here. Michael, what do you think?
What's the time frame?
I would expect closer to 212, especially on Bitfinex. The order books were cleared repeatedly, and I don't think there will be much depth left. It'll be very easy to manipulate the price there. Also, Kcoin just had their books cleared on the weekly twice this morning, so they could easily drag down the other expenses with arbitrage. OKCoin hit 212 this morning on the weekly futures, twice, and right now it's at about 233.
Holy shit.
So sorry, what was your price again? 212.
I would bet closer to 212.
Oh, you're just under me here. Okay, I see how it is.
Just under you, eh?
Yeah, about $3 under me.
Crazy. Sorry. All right.
So it's about 14.99 then?
It was bear up.
I know, right? All right.
Which one's more bearish?
Zane, since you're there still, did we get a price from Zane yet? No?
Nope.
Zane, what are you thinking?
I'm just going to guess the current price. I'm terrible at guessing the price. I've been terrible at it for the past year and a half of working at exchanges, so I just stay out of that.
Yeah, but
It goes up, it goes down. I don't know.
Come on. Do you want me to guess for you then?
I'll go 230. 230.
There you go. That boy. All right, Alex, take everybody around the room here and ask them, okay?
Okay. Just let me make sure I get everyone's name on here properly.
Yeah.
I'm just using Coinigy's awesome tools to graph this out for us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let's, I guess, go to my right here. What do you guys think? Price of Bitcoin next Friday at 7 p.m.
Next Friday, I'm going to go 221.
Paul says 221.
All right.
Did
221.
we get Darren already?
Yeah.
Okay, we got Darren, we got Paul. Shane, what are you saying?
Oh, 223.
Shane says 223.
All right. So I'm just going to put both you guys on this one here. 221.
Yeah.
And then 223
Yeah.
for Shane.
And Anthony, you going to give us a guess?
I'm going to play low ball, say around 208, round number.
208?
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, just so you know, our friend Anthony over there has been trying for a half an hour how to figure out how to withdraw his Bitcoins from Quadriga. We've been laughing at him for an hour. Okay, so...
You gotta log in first.
And what are you saying? What are you saying, Charles? What are you guessing?
222.
222 for Charles. David, DL, what are you thinking?
I'll go 207.
Whoa.
207.
All right, and then Jesse?
$420.
420 for Jesse.
All right. We got a bull in the room.
Yeah, we got a serious bull in the room. And Taylor?
270. I hope you're right.
270. There you go. We had a good turnout tonight, Alex.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm glad you guys all came. Thanks for coming out. We're going to have to ask Jumbucks for more money for beer.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Yeah.
So let's get some closing remarks. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, that's cool with me.
So, Zane, anything you want to share with us, or anything you can give us for a closing remark? That'd be appreciated from the Bitfinex.
I'd just like to thank you guys for having me on. It's always nice to talk to other Bitcoin fans and people in the industry. And thanks, Michael, for coming on as well. It was interesting to hear what's going on in Canada.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will be bumping into each other at a Bitcoin conference someday in the future.
Thanks, Shane.
Yeah, definitely.
Michael, what are you thinking?
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I will definitely need to put more of an effort into making myself more available to come down there.
Yeah, you should. And also, you've got you guys are going public. You guys are listing soon, so maybe you want to tell everybody about that, just because maybe we want to invest in your company.
Yeah.
Well, we closed the first private placement. We'll be announcing another one fairly shortly, I believe. The company should be listing next month is the current estimated timeline, but of course there have been so many delays that I'm hesitant to give a timeline at this point.
Right.
It's still looking amazing. We still have the market share that we're hoping to have, and everything is still looking great as far as I'm concerned. I'm very happy with the progress we've made with what we've done.
Good. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today, Michael. It was nice to see you. Zane, thank you very much for joining us. Very good to see you. And what are you doing?
I'm going to grab that work photo. We should end with this.
Oh, you're going to show it? Really? Seriously?
Yeah.
You're going to put that right in the camera? You got to put that right in the camera.
Okay.
So I have lots of friends in the world, and this is from my friend Amber. He's an artist at CBC, and he lost his fork. And he put this up around CBC looking for his fork, and somebody stole it. And then after his fork was found, I said, Amber, I want the art. Because that's all we're talking about these days is this stupid fork, right? So anyway, yeah, have you seen this fork? Yeah, it's kind of cute. Anyway, that's Amber. All right, you guys. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Thanks from the Central, and thanks for showing up. It was great. And I guess we'll see you all again in 7 days.
Yeah, see you in 1,000 blocks, guys.
In 1,000 blocks. That's so funny. Yeah. See you in 1,000
Thank you, guys.
blocks. All right.
Thanks for having us on.
All right.